What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tazz, and you are listening to or watching the Intro Podcast. Look, so totally unplanned. I want to introduce the cast of the Intro Podcast. The one and only, what's your name, Mills? You.
My name is Glennette.
So you guys know Glennette. Oh, so she said Glennette today. So we're gonna go with Glennette.
That's who's here today.
That's who's here today.
Yeah.
We know Glennette from Broken for Purpose podcast. She's been with the family since COVID. That boy.
Yeah.
You've been rocking with me for a very long time.
Very long time.
Broken for Purpose is a very powerful podcast, but somebody told me the best move I made this year for this podcast is having that man down there on the show because, I mean, why not? We are the one and only.
What's good, family? This is the one and only Willie Beamen making the building once again.
Beamen, man. Everything sports, dance, tap dancing and everything.
Tip.
Yeah, that's I was thinking about that whenever you was doing that before the show. So, the introduction. So, like I said, this is the cast. We've been working behind the scenes. Of course, we are broadcasting from the Fort Worth, Texas studio. I'm excited about that. Shout out to the Bishop, Sherman C.G. Allen, and First Lady Otanya. The middle name that you can say that I can't.
No.
You ain't tried today?
Eskridge.
That one right there. First Lady, co-pastor Otanya Allen. We love, and appreciate you guys ever so much. So just coming off the top of everything, you know, I have to ask the question, how are we feeling after Tuesday?
What happened to you? Oh,
That. How are we feeling? Like, there's a lot of mixed emotions, and I want to ask a question that I heard as I was coming here on the Breakfast Club. But before I ask that question, like, how individually, how are you feeling, Glennette?
So, as a woman.
And
as a black woman. I was not surprised because we have to be 10 times better than our black counterparts and 20 times better than our white counterparts.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's not the first time that a black woman has been educated, knows the job, but still passed over.
Yeah.
You know, so I would have been surprised if she would have won. And the thing about it is, okay, everybody doesn't agree with her policies. Okay, that's not the point. The point is who was best for the job.
Yeah.
Facts.
And he is not best for the job, in my opinion.
Okay.
You know.
If I'm not mistaken, and you may know more about this than me, she was not the first black woman to run for president.
I did come across that.
Like years ago?
Like, yeah.
But I can't think of who the other black woman was.
That's a great question.
I'll know in
Google
just
that
a
for
second.
me.
I'll know in just a second.
Because it just amazes me because even in this election, we've seen two totally different sides of life. As a
Shirley Chisholm.
Shirley Chisholm, yeah.
Yes, that was a great movie. Y'all go watch that.
Yes, please. Speaking of movies, we're going to be all over the place today because, again, this was a very unpredictable show. Another good movie that I would tell people to go watch on, I think it's on Amazon, is The Harriet Tubman with Cynthia
Erivo.
She gonna be in Wicked.
Yes, she is. That is one singing black woman.
Yeah, she was.
But you know, she had her own little brush with controversy.
Okay.
Because when she played Harriet Tubman, they felt like she shouldn't have played that part. Because if I'm not mistaken, when she first came to America, she had some things to say about black people.
Okay.
You know, but that's not anything new. They felt, even though she apologized, they felt that, you know, that they shouldn't have let her play that role. But my thing is, people have downed us since the beginning of time,
of course,
but you still forget him.
Yeah.
them.
But it's what one thing that I heard Charlamagne the guy saying, and you guys know I'm going to refer to the Breakfast Club a lot. But Charlamagne once said that it doesn't matter how much good you do, you always will be remembered for that one bad thing. So it don't matter if she would have came over here and came up with the cure for the common cold. They were still always going to remember that one thing. Willie, coming off of the election, how do you feel, man?
I feel uneasy.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard, man, especially being, African American. It's definitely tough, man. I was listening to 105 when it first happened. I can't remember the guy who hosted, but he was like, yeah, I'm a believer. Yeah, I'm a Christian. But right now, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated. I don't understand. But like you said, I mean, it would have been a surprise if she would have won. But I definitely don't think he's the man for the job. I mean, even watching Kamala Harris's interview with Shannon Sharp, she was saying how this man has, filed bankruptcy more than 6 times, man. So, and of course, keeping tax cuts for billionaires and not for hardworking people, man, who out here trying to make a living, man, and not giving them opportunity to make sure they're in a position to be financially set. So, it's definitely uneasy, man. Just coming together as a nation, man, and find a way to get through it.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, look, that boy. This morning, I was listening as I was driving in. One of the spokespersons from Trump's, I don't even want to call it house, but already said that within the first 2 days that he gets in office, they're going to start this mass deportation.
And here's the thing about that. Let's go to some facts, okay? So if you look at how it was, the way the people voted, okay? So let's do this. 74% of white men voted for Trump. 69% of white women voted for Trump. 16% of black men voted for Trump. 8% of black women voted for Trump. That should have been a 0, but hey. 45% of Latino men voted for Trump. And 40% of Latino women voted for Trump.
I have a problem with the whole Latino.
I know. And then 55% of all the other races voted for Trump. My thing is, when you take the Latino, that's 85% of Latino. He trying to deport y'all.
Coming off of what happened like a couple of hours before.
No, facts.
At the thing that he did in Madison Square Garden where they was talking about him.
He said that he gonna deport y'all.
Yep.
That he gonna send y'all back to Mexico.
Yep.
And 85% of y'all voted for him.
Still supporting.
So make that make sense to me.
What's the saying where you love the like back in the slavery days where like although the master beat them, they still like worship them or like love them.
They call that so there's this, it's really a thing that, say Willie kidnaps me. Okay. He kidnaps me.
Stupid.
Say he kidnaps me and he holds me hostage.
Okay.
So there's this mental thing where the kidnappee falls in love with the kidnapper.
Yeah.
And so it's some kind of thing. You have to look it up since you're on the computer. But it's some kind of, and it happens. But come on, if you tell me that as soon as I get in office, I'm kicking you out. Oh, is that loud on your ear?
It's loud.
I'm sorry. I talk with my hands. You kicking me out? I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
And there's no way I would have voted for you.
But people still think that a lot of the things that Trump said is not things that he's really going to implement. Trust me.
Oh, he going to implement that.
When somebody show you who they are,
believe them.
There is no change. In my opinion, there is no change in who Trump is going to be. They already set the first day as mass deportation. You have to think about the power that he's about to give to the police officers, to where just because you don't look like you're American they can stop you and do all this other stuff. So that the suggestion was, and I think it's stupid, that from now on, if you're not from here, but you have your green papers or you have your papers showing that you're legal, you need to carry your papers every day, everywhere you go.
Here's the thing, though. It doesn't matter, because let me tell you something historically. When black people, during slavery days, when they were free and they had their papers, and they would tell you to carry your papers when you're maybe too close to the border or in a different state that slaves were slaves.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They'll take them papers, rip them right on up, and send you right on. And that's what they did. You know. So here's the thing. I just lost my thought, but
it's that 30-year-old talking.
But I was watching I got back. I was watching a video, and there was this guy, and he was talking to a white gentleman. It was an Asian guy, and he was talking to a white gentleman. And the white gentleman said that he voted for Trump for one reason. And he said that because white people were becoming the minority, and that he knew that Trump wasn't going to allow that to happen. He said, why should he lose his status in America when he's the one, when white people are the ones that built it? And the Asian man looked at him and was like, built what?
Right.
What did y'all build? And the America was built on the backs of people of color.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth.
That's it.
The black people came and built it. Their infrastructure, their money, cotton, you know, the Orientals came, the Asians came and built the railroads, and the Mexicans, the
gardening and stuff.
Yeah, you know, so the Europeans, they came and took over after it was already done, or that's what they worked with. But they didn't, you know, they didn't toil. And I have friends that are white, and they were like, you know, well, white people, they were indentured servants, but indentured servants had 7 years. That, you know,
after that time,
7 years they got their freedom.
Yeah.
You know, indentured servant, not slave.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, difference.
You know, so this is gonna be a conversation that we're gonna be able to have
for a long
for
time.
a long time.
I have a question for you, Willie. One of the things that in just listening throughout let's just say the last year or so, how they are trying to do away with a lot of Black history. Now with Trump being in office, what happens if they try to get rid of HBCUs?
That's a problem, man. I mean, HBCU schools are definitely important, you know, to the Black culture and to our community and things that we build. I mean, a lot of people that we see, celebrities, movie stars, entertainers, people in business, I mean, they came from HBCUs, you know.
VP came from HBCU.
Yeah, she came from Howard.
Yeah.
Exactly, she came from Howard,
Reagan
man.
went to Howard.
Who?
Reagan.
For real?
Huh? Hey, Reagan.
Hey, Reagan.
Okay. Anyway.
But no, HBCUs, man, that's definitely something that's embedded in our culture, man. So trying to strip that from us, it's gonna become a problem, man.
But the thing about it is they can't shut down HBCUs.
Yeah.
All they can do is not give them federal funding.
Which is going to, in retrospect, if we as in African American or brown people, if we don't give money to these schools, if they're shut down, that's just like in Dallas, Texas. We have a very, very powerful HBCU, which is Paul Quinn.
Paul Quinn, yeah.
You never hear nothing about Paul Quinn.
Facts.
It's a small private college, though, right? It's a private college.
Probably so. But there are so many educated individuals that have come out of that school.
Yeah.
But because they don't have the money, resources to pour into the school, you never hear. So imagine 4 years from now, if they decide to stop funding HBCUs, what happens to the next Kamala Harris, or what happens to the next person that could have been, but because that college stopped receiving money because they're in HBCU or because of what they were teaching, then it becomes nothing. Even more, they're trying to, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm saying this right, then you can correct me. They're trying to stop the public education system
from teaching race theory.
No, like put in money from the education system. Period.
Yeah. But you know what? Let me play the devil's advocate because it may be a good thing. If he does that, it may be a good thing because the simple fact of the matter is HBCUs were created because white people wouldn't let black people in their schools.
Right.
So with that being said, when they did integrate, you know, they didn't want to teach us the same things or teach us at that level. And what has happened is over the years, when schools have gotten these fundings, these things, we've gotten away from why the schools were built in the first place. Okay. So if they pull funding from them, then it might make the black community closer, because if you don't want your children, you want your children to get the same education that their white counterparts get. And if they're going to the school, this black school, so that they can be closer to their culture, so they don't lose their culture, so they don't lose all that, maybe it can pull them together.
Hopefully.
You know, because it goes back to why they were created in the first place. I think sometimes when things get a little easy, we forget why things were started. Right. We forget why HBCUs were started. Yeah, you know, it's a thing. You know, I want to go to a black school. I want to have my alma mater. I want to wear this. I want to wear that.
I want to go party.
You know, but you forget that just like the fraternities and the sororities, they were started.
There's a meaning,
you know, and we forget that. We rest on our laurels. Things get a little easy, and we forget why they were created. Yeah. When it started, they didn't have federal funding.
True. Yeah.
When it started, the government wasn't helping them. That's why it was started in the first place.
Going back to HBCUs, I remember when Deion Sanders first went and coached Jackson State. Man, one of the top picks right now, Travis Hunter, who plays with him now in Colorado. He had opportunities, man, to go to a lot of these big schools like the Alabamas of the world who go in sports, the Floridas, all these top schools. But he left and went to Jackson State
that story.
To play with Deion, man, because they were trying to get HBCUs on the map, man, because like you guys are saying, not getting the support, not getting the funding, making sure that the fields are properly taken care of, the locker room, all these things that go into a college campus. Deion was like, I got to change that. Yeah. And he brought people with him. You saw all the celebrities supporting him at the games, on the sidelines, trying to get them after it. So, no, I think it's a big deal.
And I would say that white
in your
schools,
proper voice, I would say
that it really could be a good thing, because we take our people and they see what they can do. They see what they offer. So then they want to bring them to their school. Yeah. You know, oh, he's a great football player. Our school can use that. We'll be, you know.
I've seen that happen before too.
So my thing is, why not send that baby to a HBCU? Take your gift and put it where it's needed.
Yeah. Thanks.
Because the first time that you break a leg or break something and you're no good to them, they're gonna replace you real quick.
Liability.
You know what I'm saying?
You'll find out how. I tell people, you'll find out how valuable you are whenever you're not usable.
You're only as valuable as your gift to some people.
Yeah. We'll be right back, and I have a question, because I know Glennette is about to leave us soon because she got to go fly to Africa or something like that.
I want to go.
Them plane tickets, but she got the money for it. We'll be right back in just a second, and I have a question for her before she go, and for Willie. This is the Intro Podcast. It's your boy Tazz
and Glennette
and Willie Beamen.
We'll be right back.
Something that keeps reminding me that if he brought me through that, he'll bring me through this. I wish I had somebody, and I came to tell you, hallelujah, that no matter what you have gone through and what you have suffered and what you have endured and what you have lost, God's about to give you a do-over anointing. God's about to give you an anointing. Yeah, he's about to give you an anointing, not just to survive, but to thrive. He's about to give you an anointing, not just to do it again, but to do it better. He's about to give you an anointing.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Tazz, and you are listening to or watching the Intro Podcast. It's your boy Tazz once again, and I have the cast, the full cast this time, of the Intro Podcast. I have the one and only
Glennette
and
Willie Beamen.
Question: can you be friends with someone who voted for the other side? Willie, let's go. Knowing the views of the other side, can you be friends with somebody of the opposite color who voted for the other side?
I feel like I can, but I feel like it'll be a very distant, I guess, relationship in the sense I was if I was dating someone in another state and I was in this state. It'll kind of be like, I still love you. I got no hate towards you. I'm not the type of person that has hateful bone in my body, but I just know based on beliefs and how we think and how we, see things, I just know I can't rock with you like that. To that extent.
Yeah. Glennette, can you be my friend if I voted for them other people?
I can be your acquaintance.
My acquaintance.
But I cannot be your friend.
Okay.
Yeah. Friendship to me is a deep thing. And I trust my friends.
Mm-hmm.
If you voted for Trump, I can't trust you.
Yeah.
I really can't. I can't trust that you have my best interest in heart. I can't trust that you understand me on a cultural fundamental level, because the things that he talks, the things that he say, it's all about division and hate, in my personal opinion. Yeah. And so if you agree with that and if you rock with that, no, we can't be friends.
Yeah.
I can't sit down and break bread with you in my house and let you know the intimate parts of me. That didn't sound right, did it?
No.
No, it did. No.
I understand what you're saying, though.
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah, I can't let you in, because friendship, that's a bond.
Yeah.
And if you rocking with somebody that wants to hang me or hang somebody that looks like me, no, sir. I have a son.
What's the word that Dad would use in Monday? Friendship or
Monday's Bible study?
Yeah. God, what was it?
He was going heavy. He used
Friendship
so many words.
or
Frenemies?
No, frenemies.
I wasn't there.
It was good.
it was a men's meeting. She was there. She was on the wall. However, I just wanted to get that in before Glennette leaves. Thank you for coming in, Gigi.
It is my pleasure, always.
We'll be right back, and it's just going to be me and the guy that y'all really want to see, Willie Beamen. This is the Intro Podcast. We'll be right back in just a minute.
There was a remnant. There was a little small group of people who decided that enough is enough. I wonder, do I have some people in here that will say enough is enough? Do I have any people in here that are tired of the devil wreaking havoc in your homes, taking your families, tearing up your marriages, glory be to God, destroying your community with drugs and violence, and you will say enough is enough?
Welcome to Broken for Purpose, where we explore the beauty in our struggles and the strength found in our vulnerabilities. Each week, we delve deep into the stories of individuals who have faced adversity, transformed their pain into purpose, and discovered the profound lessons hidden within their experiences. I'm Glennette, and today we're diving into a topic that resonates deeply with many of us: the unique challenges women face in our society. As women, we often find ourselves navigating a complex web of expectations, stereotypes, and roles that can feel daunting. From balancing careers and family to managing society pressures about our appearance and behavior, the weight, no pun intended, can sometimes feel overwhelming. But amid these struggles, there's incredible strength, resilience, and purpose to be found. So let's start by acknowledging something fundamental. The journey of every woman is unique. Yet there are common threads that weave through our experiences. One of these threads is the pressure to conform, to fit into a predefined mold of what a successful woman should be. This often leads to feelings of inadequacy, comparison, and even self-doubt. Think about it. How many times have you scrolled through social media and felt that wave of comparison wash over you? The perfectly curated lives, the flawless appearance, and the seemingly effortless achievements. It's easy to forget that behind these images are real people, often struggling with their own insecurities and challenges. But here's the truth. It's okay to be broken. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to not have it all figured out. Our imperfections make us human, and embracing them is a vital part of our journey. So let's take a moment to reflect on some of the specific issues women face. One significant challenge is the pressure to excel in every aspect of life: career, relationships, motherhood, and personal well-being. This superwoman myth can be suffocating. Many women find themselves juggling multiple roles, often neglecting their own needs in the process. What if we shifted our perspective? Instead of striving for perfection, we could aim for authenticity, embracing our true selves, flaws and all. It allows us to connect on a deeper level with each other and foster a supportive community. Another issue to address is the prevalence of the imposter syndrome. Many of us have experienced that nagging voice in our heads telling us we're not good enough or that we don't deserve our success. It's vital to recognize that these feelings are not a reflection of our capabilities, but rather a society construct that we can challenge. Acknowledge your accomplishments, celebrate your victories, and remember that you are worthy of every opportunity that comes your way. So, how do we combat these issues? One powerful tool is storytelling. Sharing our experiences, vulnerabilities, and triumphs can create a sense of belonging and empowerment. When we speak out, we not only validate our own feelings, but we also inspire others to do the same. Let's also talk about the importance of self-care and setting boundaries. It's not selfish to prioritize your well-being. It's essential. Whether it's taking time for yourself, saying no to commitments that drain you, or seeking support from friends or professionals, self-care is a crucial component of maintaining our mental and emotional health. As we wrap up today's segment, I want to remind you that being broken doesn't mean you're defeated. It means you're on a path of transformation, discovering purpose through the very things that challenge you. Embrace your journey, share your story, and know that you are not alone. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of women's issues. Remember, every scar tells a story, and every story has the power to inspire. Whether you're seeking motivation, connection, or simply a space to feel understood, Broken for Purpose is here to remind you that your story matters. Tune in next time, and let's embark on this transformation journey together. Until next time, stay strong, stay authentic, and continue to embrace your purpose.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tazz, and you are once again listening to or watching the Intro Podcast. Have the one and only
Willie Beamen. What's good,
right
family?
here with me. Shout out to Glennette. She had to run to pay some bills. I hope she can pay some of mine because I have a bunch and I don't have enough money. For some reason, I have discovered that adulting sucks. And it should be against the law, cause this thing called bills and having to pay them, and I'm not about that life. But in the meantime, in between time, what's going on with you, Willie B?
Man, I'm good, bro. Just taking life, one day at a time, and just trying to navigate this season of grief, man, and we'll get into it whenever. Just had to lay my grandmother to rest. Thank God he allowed her to see 85 years old in September. So talked about it on the first episode. But yeah, man, as a family, man, we're just trying to make sure we're solid, stick together, check on one another, and move forward.
So let's just jump right into it, man. Let's talk about it. I shared with you whenever you told me about the situation. I told you that I've been in that situation. I lost both my grandmother and my grandfather. My grandmother was like the homie.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
man.
she lived all the way in Mississippi, and I lived in Louisiana, and I would call her like I was working at the clerk of court, and I would call her at 12 o'clock every day, and we would talk for the whole entire lunch break.
Yeah. For me to apply to my own life, man, no matter what we're doing in life, no matter what season we're
Yeah.
going through, even if you are moving like a snail, as long as you put one foot in front of the other,
Yeah.
you know, just take it in stride and move forward. So my grandmother, man, she was definitely a person who loved people, man, who brought people together, and she loved the Lord. Of course.
From the
Yeah.
the celebration, if
Yeah.
I didn't get nothing else from her, she loved the Lord. But y'all, I didn't know that Willie could pray like he prayed.
Oh man. Yeah.
This man took to the pulpit like we didn't even need a eulogy. Like you literally prayed her whole entire life. So by the time the preacher got up, I was like, oh, I thought we was about to go home. So dealing with grief comes in a lot of stages.
Yeah.
I say for me, I lost my mom about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to figure out today, trying to figure out today why I still have never cried about it.
Wow, that's heavy, bro. Talk about that, man. I want to know why.
I have absolutely no clue. Like, I went to the funeral, of course, and I was just me. Like, I sang, I talked, or I spoke or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We did the repast.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat and I watched how everybody was just ripped apart. Like, my oldest brother, I almost stopped laughingly. I was about to have to put him in a hole right now. Because this nigga was like, we joke about, oh my God, take me with you. But it was literally that kind of feeling. And till today, I'm still trying to understand why I haven't had that point of grief to where I actually cry.
Wow.
Have you had that yet?
Yes. And it really didn't happen, fam, until the day of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely, I really didn't feel anything, you know, when she passed and her decline. But the day of, man, you know, seeing my mama go up there at the very end as we were wrapping up the service, man, and it just broke her, man. When it broke her, it broke me at the same time.
Yeah.
I was like, Lord, man, you gotta give us the strength to get through this, man. And so, yeah, that's when it really, really broke me. But I appreciate you showing up, fam. I appreciate the support. I appreciate, shout out to Bishop Sherman Allen, man.
Yes,
shout out to
sir.
Pops. Shout out to my mama, man, Pastor Laura O'Neal, man. My Christ Cathedral family,
Yes.
who showed up, man, support. So, yeah.
Whenever Bishop got up to speak, I was just like, okay, he about to do it.
Man, right?
I love the analogy that he gave.
Oh,
for
my
that.
goodness.
In grief, again, I'm speaking from a personal, he's speaking from a personal also. I got mad. I was pissed because I got a knock on the door from my auntie and my uncle. They're like, first of all, for them to walk upstairs to get to my apartment, I knew there was a problem automatically. But I opened up the door, and my auntie, my uncle, and one of my auntie's friends was like, they found your mom. But in like the funny thing or the weird thing for me is where they found her, keeping in mind she was still in Mississippi.
Right.
So where they found her, the car was buried so deep in the woods because, and we still don't know till today what happened, but evidently she floored the gas and she just went into the woods.
Wow.
And I was angry because I was like, I just talked to you. Like literally, I talked to her Saturday and they found her Tuesday.
Wow.
And I was like, we knew that she was sick, but she would never tell anybody what the sickness was. My mom was the kind of mom, y'all can say what y'all want to, God gonna heal me. Now, I will say this, and it's amazing that I think about it now. She may have died, but she didn't die from what she had.
Wow.
So in the case of her saying, God is gonna heal me, he probably didn't heal her on this side, but he healed on the other side. So
good.
that even, and like just talking about it now actually made me realize it. And I think one of the things that we don't do is talk about stuff because we don't want to bring up emotions or we don't want to bring up memories. But clearly, like I literally just felt that, like just talking about it. Have you been able to sit down with friends, family, your wife or whatever, and actually talk about this?
I haven't yet, fam, and I feel like, you know, I should be moving towards that, you know, talking to someone. I was just saying it to myself, you know, here in the car earlier today. You know, if I could be honest, I mentioned it to you before. I mean, I won't get into all the details, but I feel like this level of grief, man, has pushed me to, you know, certain ways of self-sabotaging behavior, man, because you know, she was the rock, fam, and she was the last one. You know, all my grandparents have died from 2017 all the way up until now. I'm talking about back to back to back to back. You know, and you know, our grandparents are our rock, man. They're the one who has laid the foundation so we can continue your legacy. So, but now I feel like I do need to, you know, have those conversations, especially, you know, with my spouse. I appreciate her showing up, being there for me as well. But
I'm gonna meet you one day. I promise you I am.
Yeah.
I hope you're watching this. I'm gonna meet you one day.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I feel like I should, man. And even just being on here, man, and sharing with you, man. And yeah, I feel like I should be moving towards that route. But yeah, it's definitely been a battle, fam. Yeah. It's been a hard struggle, man. So I'm just trying to make sure that I continue to surround myself with, you know, the right group of people, man. Make sure that I push myself, you know, to pray and say my word, which at times sometimes I don't want to. Yeah. Because I'm human. I feel like the Lord knows that, bro. I'm like, I don't want to do it, man. I'm wrestling with this. I'm struggling with this. I don't get it. So
so which would lead me into another. It's still along the lines of grief, but in the process of grief, sometimes it's hella hard to pray.
That's where I've been.
Because you want to pray, you want to believe and be like, God, I understand or whatever, but the human you is, damn, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
So like, how do we, or how do you, or how have you found yourself getting past that? Because clearly you are in great mental health. So apparently you have come to the point to where you can pray and you can talk to God and get reasoning.
I feel like I'm not all the way there yet, but I feel like day by day I'm slowly getting better, man. That's why I'm, you know, trying to find ways to make sure I'm doing self-care. Yeah. You know, if it's the dancing, if it's the laughing and joking with family and spending time with them like we were doing leading up to her funeral. We all come together, buy food, turn on a movie, dance, high side joke, whatever the case may be. And so, or even just making a phone call and making sure that they're good. Yeah. And so, just finding ways, man, to get through it. But yeah, it's definitely been tough. I've had, you know, and still having those moments like, man, I don't feel like praying. I feel like doing nothing. I feel like getting my
Let's
word.
think about this then. Best memory of your grandmother.
Whew, that's a good one, bro. Best memory. Man, it's so many.
So many, yeah.
Let me see if I can pinpoint one. I would probably say here recently, I was looking through my phone just to see if I had anything from her. Mm-hmm. And I think it was, you know, in the midst of COVID, maybe 21, 22, my mama threw a birthday party for her at our church that I grew up at, Pleasant Home Baptist Church on Riverside. And so, yeah, I think it was, you know, in the evening. And
real Fort Worth.
Yeah. I'm born and raised, bro, from the South. On the South Side. But, yeah, I was looking at the video in my phone here recently and had this nice cake for her. We singing happy birthday. You know, she was still able to, you know, move, you know, and at that time still had most of her mind. But, yeah, if I can say here recently, you know, that would probably be one of my most memorable moments, man.
I think one of the most memorable moments about my grandmother, and I think all my cousins will agree forever, we had a family house in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And the part of Mississippi where I'm from today in 2024, half of the area still have no street lights.
Oh, my goodness.
The internet is literally dial-up.
Oh.
Your cell phone, leave it in Texas because it's not going to work. Like, we would literally have to find a part of the. First of all, she had property, land. Like, she had 2 gardens the size of football fields.
Sheesh.
So we would have to walk around like this with our phones in the air trying to find a signal and literally stand right there the whole time. But I think one of the greatest memories that I'll always have about Emma Dimple Klein is as kids, because we didn't have cable or anything, every time we went to the house, we all had to watch 101 Dalmatians. Imagine 8, 9, 10 grandchildren. We all just laid out on the floor.
Yep.
And that's it. I actually miss those times, but it seemed like as we got older, like our real personalities came out, and we were like, nigga, we not sleeping on the floor no more.
Right.
But what would your last word about this? What would be your advice to someone who's going through something like this and need to know that there is light on the other side? Or are you at the point where you can give that advice?
I would say first and foremost, man, if you are a believer, man, make sure that your relationship with God Himself, man, is solid. I would definitely say start there, man. Make sure that's your foundation, because at the end of the day, I think I said it even when I was praying, man, that Jesus has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. And so if nobody understands, He understands. And so I would say start there, man. Make sure that you got a solid relationship. And they know, I mean, Jesus knows Himself that we have emotions, we have feelings. Because He went through that, man, in the Garden of Gethsemane, man. He was like, Lord, Fops, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
If there's anything you can do, please take this cup of suffering from me.
Yeah.
But so if He can endure, He was teaching us how to endure. So, man, I would definitely say start there, man. Not saying you won't have your moments.
Right.
Not saying you won't dot all your I's.
Right.
Not saying you won't cross all your T's. But at the end of the day, we are human, man, and we have the right to feel those emotions and process those. Number 2, have a healthy community. Yeah. That's what I would say, have a healthy community, man. The word also tells us in the multitude of counsel there's safety. Mm-hmm. And so the question we all should ask ourselves is, are the people in my inner circle a safe space for me to be around? Ooh, because if that's real, because if that's not, then you got to start cutting some loose ends. Yeah. And
cutting loose ends a lot of time hurt.
Yeah, it do.
Especially if it's people that you have to cut that you feel you've been here. And we have a certain kind of relationship. Yeah. But then you see, like, I'm growing and you're comfortable being right here.
There. Yeah.
So I've been there, and I found myself, after cutting those ends, I found myself lonely as hell. But as Dad said Monday, that rejection.
Oh, man, I remember that, bro. I do remember that.
I've been reliving the whole entire, this Monday and the first Monday that I've been reliving. I love those intimate moments with Dad where he just talked to us like we just wanted, like we in the barbershop.
Facts.
This is literally
barbershop talk.
I love that every Monday. If you are in the DFW area, men from what age to what age?
Ooh, what? I think the grandson was like 16.
16 and up. Meet us at Christ Cathedral Church of Fort Worth. You know the address? I don't.
I think it's 3201 Perrington Avenue, I believe.
It goes down. Oh, let me shout out. He probably won't hear it, or I'll probably make sure he will. That spaghetti.
Oh, yeah, spaghetti was fire, bro.
That spaghetti.
I had 2 plates.
And I got mad when I went back up for some more salad, because, I just started eating salads.
Okay.
That zesty Italian, I think that's because I'm hungry now. That zesty Italian dressing and them croutons did everything. I'm probably going to go out and
Who
get
cooked
that.
the spaghetti? Brother Bunkley?
I think so.
Yeah, I think Alice Allen. Yeah, husband. Yeah.
See,
I think
I'm still learning people now.
Me too.
I just be like him.
It was fire. That spaghetti was fire, bro.
That spaghetti was fire, and I wouldn't mind having a full pan to take back to Dallas, Texas.
Facts.
How long have you been in church? Because you know a whole bunch of words.
Man, Going back to my grandparents, fam.
Yeah.
South side of Fort Worth. Shout out to Pleasant Home Baptist Church. My grandfather who passed away in 2020, man, he was a reverend there for over 40 years. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I grew up in it, man. Throwing me in the choir. I know I can't sing a note, man.
That was me.
Vacation Bible schools, all of that, man. Multiple services, praise dance, all these different elements of ministry, man. That's what I grew up on. And as I got older, now, of course, as we get older, we all trying to see what life is like. Right. We want to test the waters. Right. We want to see what this is. And I went through that season of life as well, through all the clubs and the party and all of that. But, you know, as I got older, my life, you know, resembled the prodigal son.
Okay.
You know, he asked for his inheritance early. He said he gave it to him. He squandered it. You know, and the scripture says when he came back to himself, he made his way back home. Yeah. But the powerful thing about their story is his father didn't see him for where he was. He saw him for where he was going. Yeah. And so, yeah, man, I grew up in it, man.
You just said something powerful. Not seeing, say it again.
Seeing people for where they are, but seeing them for where they're going.
Where they're going, because sometimes if you look at where a person is now, you will completely stop looking at them.
Facts.
Because all you see now is, and not saying trying to be mean, but whenever we see some people now, all we see is failure.
True.
All we see is the downfall. We see all the mistakes that you
made. Yeah.
And a lot of people make those mistakes your lifetime of who you're gonna be.
Yes.
It takes special people, which is why, and I guess I'm always going to talk about that on this show. Yeah. It takes a special person to see where somebody is and still invest in who they're going to be. Because once I came here, keeping in mind, I've been in church playing and singing since I was damn near 7 years old.
Wow.
But when I came here, I came here right out of the hospital after dealing with Bell's palsy and dealing with a lot of other issues.
Right.
When I got here with Mom and Dad, Bishop and Co-Pastor Allen, knowing everything about me, because I've been knowing of them for years. So it wasn't like I came here with them being unaware of everything about me, including lifestyle. Let's just put it out there. Y'all already know, yada, yada, yada. But what they knew about me didn't disqualify them from still literally calling me son. Mm. And I think a lot of time and especially for young men, need to have somebody who see them further than they see themselves.
I agree.
Because if they don't have that, the streets will tell you who you are every day. Yeah. And who the streets tell you are, in most cases, is nowhere near the reality of who you are or where you're going to be. Because I've learned that there are a lot of people in the street who are comfortable being there, right, who don't want to change. Right. So if they see you there, they'll do everything they can to make sure that this is how far you go. Because if you go further than me, there's a problem.
Yeah, that's good.
How do you approach young men as opposed to the motivating part of you that speaks life into people?
For me, fam,
being from the South Side.
Hey, being from the South Side. Shout out Funky Town. Number one, man, I always start, when it comes to young people or just people in general, I'll start with learning who they are. Mm-hmm. I start with trying to build rapport with people. Right. Until I get to a point to where God will lead me to, speak, a word into them or give them certain scriptures, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, in the very beginning, I'm trying to get to know that person. Right. What do you like? What do you don't like? What are you doing? What do you want to achieve? It's kind of like dating. Yeah, exactly, fam. Yeah, in the beginning stage, trying to get to know that person, man, until you get to an intimate part to where you can show your vulnerabilities, be transparent with them, and vice versa. And so, that's where I start from. I learn people first, mm-hmm, before I go into the deep end. So
that vulnerability thing, though.
That's
a killer sometimes.
It is.
Especially, again, for black men, because we've always been taught to not be vulnerable, to hide your most intimate whatever, because we just don't do that. But in knowing you and the time that I've known you and seeing how you operate and seeing how you are in church, I think one of the most intimate things, and it's romantic at the same time, is worship. Because that's when, like, and of course that's just in the church scene, but I watch you because I'll be above you anyway in the balcony to where you can't see me. Or even when I'm in the front or doing my work for data or whatever, I glance around every now and again. For a black man that has that deep of a relationship, when did you get to the point to where you was like, okay, God, it's all of you at this point. Whenever I go into your house, or even whenever I'm home or I'm driving, I'm comfortable just giving you me.
I think that started, man, I would probably say in my early 30s, getting to a point to where, because the thing is, like you mentioned, as black men, we're taught to not show vulnerability. Right. We're taught to be full of ego. We're taught to be pride, which word already tells us pride comes before the fall. And so I just got to a place, man, to where I can, really be transparent and open no matter who was around, whether it's a church setting, whether it's I'm with friends or whoever. I just got to a point to where I can just be free, man, and do my best to walk in that freedom. Not saying I'm not going to drop the ball at times, because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect. And right. Bishop talked about it on a Monday, right, man, as black men. Nobody's perfect, but at the end of the day, it's our duty to uplift. It's our duty to encourage. It's our duty to pour into one another, man, because my thing is about relationships. I remember doing this video on TikTok when I first started doing videos, and I was giving the analogy of, say, for instance, if you're putting together this get-together, right, you have a certain group of people who that's going to show up. They're going to bring food. Yes. They're going to bring desserts. They're going to bring whatever things that you like. But there's another group of people who don't show up with anything. They don't even care to bring napkins. They don't even care to bring water and plates. Yeah. And so at the end of the function, I always
bring the sodas.
Yeah, right? I bring the sodas too. The sodas and napkins and plates. Yes, sir. But even with that being said, once everything has calmed down, once everything is over, those same people who didn't bring anything, they want to take to-go plates. And so the revelation God was giving me is we got to be cautious and careful of certain people that we link up with, because if they're not adding value, if they're not pouring into you, then the opposite end of that, they're taking from you. Yeah. That's to-go plates. And so we got to be cautious, man, people that are always taking and not adding. And so
I used to call myself, my fault in life is I've always tried to be a people pleaser. Yeah. Regardless to how I felt about something, I would always contour my thoughts or feelings to make sure that somebody else was happy. And at the end of the day, giving, come sleep. You can sleep on my floor. You can sleep on my sofa. Yeah. You can eat my food. You can do this. But then after they got everything they wanted, and I was the person in need. My hand was just like, yep. And it was like, oh, I can't do nothing. But then I see you on Facebook living it up. That's the because I don't like.
Yeah, facts, fam.
Don't be on Facebook shining with your new everything. And whenever I call you and ask you for $5, you like, bro, I don't have it. Nigga, you was just in the mall yesterday. I'm just saying.
Facts, bro.
However, man, thank you guys for looking, watching, and listening to the intro podcast. Do me a favor before we go to the next segment, Willie. Where can they find you on social media? Y'all gotta watch this man dance.
I love the dance. I love the groove, man. Dance. I'm 35, but I got an old soul, man. I promise you. Y'all can follow me, man, on my TikTok page, man. That's Willie Stricklin, aka Willie Beamen. And y'all can also find me on my IG page. That's W Stricklin as well, man. Follow your boy, man.
I absolutely enjoyed the last live with you and your homie. What's your friend's name?
Brandon Agent, man. Shout out to my brother, man.
Y'all had the old school music, and yes, he does have an old. So I'm literally gonna try to find some of that video so I can attach it like right now, so that y'all can see how old school Willie dancing is. Now, don't get it tripped. Don't get it twisted though. Although he got old school, your boy got some moves. Yeah. How long have you been dancing again?
Man, Probably since as long as you've been singing and doing, about around the same age, fam.
The boy got some moves. But hey, follow Willie on all social media, Willie Beamen, that is. I'm not going to say the other name, the last name. We don't do government here because y'all be trying to track people.
All right.
But follow him on social media. And, of course, you can follow me at iamtrevayne. That's TREVAYNE. That's also for my music if you're in for some good R&B neo soul.
Hey.
On all social media to follow the podcast and everything that we're doing at Spotlight Podcast Network. We'll be right back with Sport Therapy with Willie Beamen.
Hey. What's good, family? This is the one and only Willie Beamen. Back in the building one more time, man, for another dope and fire segment, man. This is Sports Therapy, man, with your host with the most, Willie Beamen, man. Y'all know what it is. So I'm going to go and get into it, man. I definitely want to hone in. We're going to kind of switch gears this time. We're going to talk about a little college football. We know college football right now is definitely hot, especially with a lot of teams that's doing their thing, man. And so I want to kind of highlight somebody, man, who we all know of. We talked about him. I talked about him a little bit on our last segment, man. Shout out to my bro, Travis Hunter, man, who had the ability to go to, some of these top schools, as he was making his way, to the college field and to the college space. But he decided not to. He decided to make a shift, because he saw what Coach Prime Deion Sanders was doing out there in Jackson State, man, and he made the decision to turn down these well-known colleges that we know most people go to, the Alabamas of the world, the Floridas of the world, all these other top schools. He made the shift to go to Jackson State, made some noise there, man. Plays well on both sides, man. If y'all don't know about Travis Hunter, go watch that guy, man. Plays well on both sides, on defense and offense. Did his thing there, and then shifted and followed Coach Prime, man, to Colorado, which actually they're doing their thing right now. Last season, it was a little shaky, man. We were all trying to figure out, man, as sports fans, how Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, man, was gonna elevate Colorado Buffaloes and take them to the next level. They struggled a little bit, but hey, you got to go through to get to, man. That's one thing that my uncle always says. And so year 2, I believe they're having an excellent start right now. And I believe, I'm not mistaken, they have qualified, man, to be in one of the bowl games. I believe that right now they're either 6-2 or 7-2. So definitely want to keep them focused and make sure they're there doing what they're supposed to be doing. But we're going to get to it. Man. Let's look at what Travis Hunter is doing. Travis Hunter at wide receiver has 46 catches for 561 yards and 6 touchdowns. That's the 5th most receiving yards and 3rd most receptions and receiving touchdowns. Hunter is on the pace for 110 catches, over 1,300 yards, and 14 receiving touchdowns. My boy is balling right now. As a wide receiver alone, those projected numbers are shy of Devontae Smith's 117 catches for 1,856 yards and 23 touchdowns that he had as the last wideout to win the Heisman. Shout out to Devontae Smith, man. But Hunter doesn't play wide receiver only. He also plays defense. That's what I mentioned earlier, man. Somebody who's well gifted, who's shifty, man, on both sides of the ball, man. He's definitely up for that Heisman award. Hunter has been spectacular on both sides of the ball, but the other issue he'll face in the Heisman candidacy is his team winning. Colorado is currently, no, that's not right. I believe they're 6-2. We're going to look past that. While the Heisman is an individual award and Hunter is spectacular individually on the field, history says he may face an uphill battle to win the award if Colorado doesn't exceed expectations. And so, like I mentioned earlier, I do believe that they're eligible to be a part of one of the bowl games. I'm not sure which one it is. I know that they've shifted over to the SEC, but man, shout out to Travis Hunter, man. Shout out to Coach Prime. Shout out to Shedeur Sanders, man. That's Deion Sanders' son who plays quarterback for them, man. He's definitely doing his thing. And this season, man, I believe they made some changes with their offensive line. Because last year, boy was getting towed up, man. Most of y'all that's watching these games Shador Sanders, man, was averaging at least 7-8 sacks a game, man, because he didn't have an efficient offensive line to protect him. But from what I'm seeing now, the offensive line looks a whole lot better to make sure that the quarterback is protected, because that's the guy who runs the offense, man, who calls certain plays and makes sure people are in place, man, to make sure they're effective on the field. But shout out to the Colorado Buffaloes, man. Shout out to Coach Prime for taking it over, man, and taking that organization, man, to the next level, man. Those guys are definitely over there moving and shaking. But I want to move on and shift to the WNBA, man. The WNBA is something that, or a league that a lot of them don't really get the credit for and get the opportunity to get their shine on. They're really not funded properly. We already know that. Definitely, hopefully we're pushing, man, for WNBA to allow these players, man, to get the money that they deserve. I believe even though they might not have the same abilities or skill sets as men when it comes to the NBA, I believe they still should be compensated, man, for what they're capable of doing. You know, they might not be as exciting. We know the NBA, there's the crossovers, there's the alley-oops, there's the dunks, there's all these different elements that go into the NBA, man. But I think the women's game is still exciting to watch. And so I kind of want to get into shout out to the New York Liberty, man, WNBA. We all know one of the greatest players to ever play for the WNBA is Breonna Stewart, a woman who has led them to get their first WNBA title, man, for the New York Liberty, man. Shout out to the New York Liberty, because New York alone, we haven't seen a title in a while. I know the New York Yankees were on the verge of getting, you know, that World Series, but they couldn't get it done. The LA Dodgers, man, knocked them out in this recent World Series. The New York Knicks, man, they ain't won in Lord knows how long. It's been years, man, since the Knicks, man, have won a title. You know, you had the Patrick Ewings of the world. You have the Charles Oakleys of the world, man. You had the John Starks. You had the Allen Houstons of the world who played for the Knicks back in those days. And, of course, we all know we have the I'm trying to remember the guy's name, man. Spike Lee. He's always courtside. He's a huge New York Knicks fan, man. We know him for film as well, but he's always at the Knicks game, rooting and cheering them on. And then, of course, we already know the guy himself, Stephen A. Smith, man, who's definitely a New Yorker and always rocking with them Knicks, man. But they have a solid team, but I just haven't won in a while. But going back, man, to rooting for and shouting out to New York Liberty, man, for winning their first title. And I kind of want to give some insight. Let's see. When Breonna Stewart says this, it's not just a pregame hype. It's a reality of high-stakes battle against Nafisa Collier. Shout out to Nafisa Collier, who was on the other side playing for the Minnesota Lynx, man. She's definitely a dominant player as well. Her close friend and former UConn teammate. Together, they've conquered NCAA titles and stood side by side for the U.S. women's basketball team. But now they stand on opposite ends of the court with more than just a game on the line. For Stewart, who's a New Yorker as well, returning to New York meant more than just joining the team. It meant coming home. It's about giving the Liberty their first NBA championship and delivering the city's first pro basketball title in 50 years, y'all. In 50 years, man, that is a long drought, man, to get a title in New York itself. And then she quotes, "We're ready to make history," she says, her eyes set on breaking a decades-long drought. And they did that. You know, they did that. Now, I know for those who did watch the game, I watched some clips from it. I was watching on SportsCenter, you know, with Stephen A. and Shannon and all those guys mentioning how there were certain calls in the game that were missed. And I think there was one call at the very end that allowed, I believe, Breonna Stewart, which is Stewie, to get free throws to be able to seal the deal, man, and for New York Liberty to get that championship. But throughout that series, man, it was some dogfights on both sides, man. You had some great players on both sides of the team, man. So definitely wanted to take a moment, man, to shout out to New York Liberty, man, for getting their first title in the WNBA, man. And hopefully there's more to come for this team. Hopefully there's more to come for the league as well. And before I get out of here, we definitely got to shout out the rookies, man, who've made a dent in the WNBA. Shout out to my girl Angel Reese, man, who been moving and shaking. LSU native, man. I believe she won a title with LSU. They beat Iowa. The person that was on that squad was Caitlin Clark. You know, shout out to Caitlin Clark, man. She's a dog herself. To me, she's like a female Steph Curry. Because that chick, man, can shoot from anywhere. She don't care who guarding her. She going to pull up, man, and shoot. So shout out, man, to Caitlin Clark, who did get Rookie of the Year this season. But also, I pray for your recovery, Angel Reese. I know I watched your recent video on IG. You were sharing, you know, your road to recovering and your injury, I believe. And so we're praying that you get well. We're praying that you get better, man. We're praying that you're staying solid. You got the right group of people around you, man, as you get through that recovery. So that when you do get back on the court, man, you're mentally sharp, you're emotionally sharp, man. Your nutrition is good, your conditioning is good. So we can come see you ball, man, because you definitely have put a dent in the squad that you play for, which is Chicago Sky. And I believe Caitlin Clark plays for Indiana Fever. And so, but yeah, they definitely have been the talk of the league, man, have definitely brought some notoriety to the WNBA, and it's been exciting to watch. And also, shout out to the Dallas Wings, man. Shout out to the Dallas Wings, man, who are here in the great state of Texas. They play at UTA, man. Shout out to the Dallas Wings, who are also doing their thing as well. But, yeah, man, just wanted to get on here and have my TED Talk, you know, for this sports world, man. This is Sports Therapy with your boy, Willie Beamen, man. We'll be back next time. Peace.
He's here to do. Whatever you need, he's here to do. Glory, hallelujah. If it's him, he's going to do it. He's here to do it. He's going to do it. If it's saving of a loved one, he's here to do it. If you need deliverance in your mind, he's here to do it. If you need deliverance in your soul, he's here to do it. If you need a financial miracle, he's here to do it. Oh, I dare you to look at your neighbor and say, he's here to do. He's here to do. Whatever you need, he's here to do. You need to look at him and tell him, he's here to do. You need to put it in the atmosphere. He's here to do. He's here to do.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Tazz, and I want to thank you guys one more time for listening to today's show. I don't know exactly how different this sound is from what the rest of the show has been, but I didn't want to end this show without my final thoughts. It just so happened that this final thought that I'm doing on today, I am currently in the hospital, but I wanted to make sure, that I came back and I talked to you guys. This is Veterans Day, so I want to say I celebrate anyone who has fought on the behalf of the United States of America. With that being said, I have a pet peeve with the government for people who have gone overseas and fought and risked their lives to defend this country, to have to come back a couple of years later and be on the side of the road homeless with no money, no place to stay or anything. I've heard Charlamagne the God and a lot of other people say over the course of time that it should be illegal to treat our veterans like this. As I said before, they'll sacrifice their lives, they put everything on the line to defend this country, and to have to come back to absolutely nothing is just wrong. To come back and be strung out on drugs and not be able to get assistance, to come back and have mental issues and not be able to get assistance, to not have any option, because a lot of people, whenever they come back, the condition that they're in, it's not their fault. A lot of people, whenever they come back, it's because of situations. They can't sleep, and the only way they can find peace is if they have that drug or whatever that new dependent is that they do, that's not necessarily the best for them, which leads them to lose whatever job they would have probably had, or the inability to get a job because of what the addiction is. So I absolutely think it's stupid for them to have to fight and sacrifice and come back here to nothing. I personally don't think they should have to pay for anything. Free room and board, and I'm not talking about in no shack, because you all have sacrificed your life. I honestly believe that you guys deserve the absolute best. So once again, happy Veterans Day to everyone who has fought on the behalf of the United States to make sure that we are safe. Other final thought, just to the crew for showing up today. I didn't know that we were gonna have the whole entire crew for the show one today. So to Glennette for showing up, I appreciate you, and to Willie Beamen, I appreciate you. As I sit here in the hospital right now, dealing with what I have to deal with, the amount of love that you guys have given from text messages and sending scriptures of healing and positivity, I appreciate it, because it's definitely needed right now. I have other people, like my church family is really showing up for me, to make sure that I have things that I need, or just to make sure that I'm in a positive frame of mind. For everything that we spoke about on the show on today, I hope that something was said that you caught on to, and you are able to use it in your life. You're able to repost a quote that we said, or just repost the show in general from whatever platform you heard it on. I appreciate you guys once again for just listening, putting up with us one more good week. We are going to be doing our best to stay consistent on these shows weekly, to have a new show every Monday. I know I'm putting this show out a little late because, again, I'm in the hospital, so I had to deal with a couple of things. But with that being said, I have a nice, crisp crew, and I love you guys, like for real. In regards to what happens now after this election, the best or the most I can say is I hope that the things that Trump said that he was gonna do was just gaslighting to get in office, just to get people riled up and get them interested in him, but definitely not things that he actually wants to do in this election, because what he's gonna do, according to what he said during the election process, is gonna hurt a lot of people. But just as in other situations, a lot of times they say things just to get the attention of the people, and they don't normally own up to it. But in Trump's case, it's kind of like one of those things, once they show you who they really are, believe them. Trump has shown us many times before who he is and how he feel about the United States, even how he feel about the veterans, how he feel about Haitians, how he feel about Mexicans, how he feel about Puerto Ricans, how he feel about black people. I can only hope that what he said he was going to do on a lot of levels is just stuff that he was just trying to gaslight to get people riled up to actually elect him. Because, you know, once you become president, you're supposed to be the one thing that Madam VP said that I agree with, that always got my attention, is she was going to be president for everybody. And I think that that's one of the more important duties in being president, to run a whole entire nation, you know, to you're president for everybody, to make sure everybody is taken care of on the same level. it doesn't make sense to only want to pick out your people. It's just like whenever I was in high school, you know, I'm not a sports person, never really been. But whenever we would be in PE and it was time to pick teams, pick people to be on your team to play different sports, they would always pick the people who they were friends with or people who was good in sports first, and then pick the leftovers. That's kind of how I feel like this presidency is, by how Trump has said, would be taking care of his people first, and if he chose to do something for the other people, he will. But I can only hope and pray that that's really not how this goes down. I do understand and believe that God is the author and the finisher, so he has the last say so. But remember, no matter what comes, no matter what goes, this is who you guys elected. And for those who did not get out in the election, this is who you guys elected. Because whenever you didn't vote for anybody, it's kind of like you voted for the winner, or whoever the winner turned out to be. So it's kind of like you voted for Trump. But until the next time, do me a favor, share love, share peace, love, and joy with somebody that you meet, because you never know what another person is going through and what another person needs, and you can be their answer. It's your boy Tazz. This is the Intro Podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Holla.